Is Democratic Congressman from Illinois, Raja Krishnamoorthi. He is the ranking member on the newly formed House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party. He is also a member of the House Intelligence Committee. It's very good to have you with us, Congressman. What can you say right now about reasons, motivations China might have had to put this out there in front of us, to make sure that the public saw what they were doing?
I don't know. But what we know is that the CCP has used these high-altitude balloons at other times. It appears that they did it 3 times during the Trump administration. We see that they have claimed responsibility for the balloon that's flying over Latin America and, of course, the balloon that flew over our country. They basically are trying to use different tools for this type of surveillance over strategic sites, whether they're using satellites or high-altitude balloons around the world.
So their reaction to the U.S. shooting it down, China's reaction to us shooting it down, is that it was unnecessary, and they've called it a provocation. Are you concerned about a tit for tat here, and what could that be?
I think the provocation was sending this high-altitude balloon over American airspace, violating our sovereignty. And President Biden was well within his rights to agree with his military leaders who decided to shoot it down off the coast of the Carolinas. I'm hopeful that the Chinese don't do anything further. But at the same time, we have to be prepared for anything with the Chinese Communist Party.
How big of a deal is this, that they did this?
I think that it's kind of a brazen violation of our sovereignty. And I think that they tend to throw their elbows in their own neighborhood, whether it's in the South China Sea or with regard to Taiwan. And perhaps they were trying to push their luck with us. And I think that they have to recognize that we are unified on a bipartisan basis in saying that that is absolutely unacceptable. And I think we're going to stand with our president in his final decision to shoot down the balloon.
How do you feel about the president not telling the American public sooner, or not telling lawmakers sooner?
Well, I don't want to pass judgment until I get more information from the White House with regard to their decision making. We know that during the Trump years, a balloon from the CCP had transited the U.S. at least 3 times, and we were not notified at that time. I'm not questioning why we were not necessarily notified, or the American public wasn't notified. But at the end of the day, I'm waiting to hear some answers from the Biden administration. Overall, I was very pleased with the outcome.
You say that we know that it happened during the Trump administration. Officials from the Trump administration say that they don't know about this. Where are you getting that information? Is it just from the Pentagon saying it, or have you seen the evidence?
No, it's from the Pentagon reports. Basically, it's puzzling to me that Trump administration officials might disagree with the Pentagon with regard to this particular situation. But nevertheless, the main point is the Chinese Communist Party is sending these high-altitude balloons, and it doesn't matter which party's in the White House. We have to unify now because, a divided American people is exactly what our adversaries want.
Do you foresee a conflict, a armed conflict with China in the coming years, as that one Air Force general warned his officers in the memo exclusively obtained by NBC News?
Sure, I hope not. Basically, what we know is what CIA Director Burns said the other day, which is that he has ordered the People's Liberation Army to be ready for a military invasion of Taiwan by 2027, which is only 4 years away. And so in that time frame, we have to do everything we can to work with our partners, allies, and friends in the region, including the people of Taiwan, to prepare themselves and to help with their self-defense, to make sure they can discourage and deter aggression from the Chinese Communist Party. At the end of the day, we don't want a Cold War. We don't want a hot war or open hostilities with the CCP. And so that's what we should work toward with our allies and friends and partners.
Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.